a new week and a daily market commentary for Monday, the 19th of August. Last week's volatility in the equity and bond markets kept traders on their toes as sentiment seemed to change by the hour. So what will this week bring? We have more of the same, or maybe a semblance of calm will return to the markets? Well, the early activity on Monday suggested rather the latter. FX was very quiet during Asia and Europe, with the only real movement being some profit taking in euro sterling after Friday's big sell-off. Crypto, however, would see a continuation of the weekend move higher, with ETH running up to a high of 202 and Bitcoin up to 10,800. Again, no real catalyst, but the old no news is good news adage seems to be holding true. Once again, a dip below 10,000 for Bitcoin is short-lived and showing some good resilience. Asian and European equities enjoyed some relief rallies, much for the same reason as crypto. The less negative news, the better. The Hang Seng closed up by more than 2%, and the German DAX by 1.3%. So on to the US session, where it was a very familiar story. FX remained subdued throughout most of the day. The real mover was dollar CAD, which rallied from 132.5 up towards 133.30. Otherwise, it was familiar ranges for the major currencies, with the market happy to wait for new developments. US equities followed on from Asia and Europe, with the Dow Jones opening up over 300 points, or 1.2%. The S&P and Nasdaq showed early similar percentage gains. Gold drifted off from 1510 now to low around 1493 as risk sentiment improved. Closed the day nearer 1496. The bond markets were also fairly quiet, with the US 10-year yield up a fraction from Friday at 1.608%. As the day progressed, Euro had one little attempt to hurdle 1110 earlier in the day, but it failed again, and we ended up closing back towards 110.80. Euro against the US definitely feeling a bit on the heavy side at the moment. Conversely, we had dollar yen ended the day near as high as 106.65. Starting to feel a little bit like the market kind of wants to get back in the idea of buying dollars again across the board. That's sort of what we saw today, just a little bit, even though it was quiet. We saw Aussie and Kiwi moving just a little bit lower. As I mentioned, dollar CAD higher, dollar yen higher, euro against the US lower, sterling against the US a little bit lower. So I'll be interested to see what we get coming during the week. But even if President Trump gets his wishes and we get the Fed having some more interest rate cuts in the coming months, it still feels like the market's fairly keen to hold dollars. By the end of the day, the equity markets were a little bit off their best levels, but all three major US indices registered closes around plus 1% or better, with the Dow Jones up 250 points. There will certainly be busier days this week, especially with the Federal Reserve Jackson Hole Symposium looming towards the end of the week on Friday and on Saturday. But for today, at least, it was a fairly calm and orderly market. So just a quick technical piece to wrap things off. I wanted to take a quick look at Ethereum against the US for all our crypto traders out there. As you can see from the 1 hour chart, the 197.86 level, and again it will depend a little bit where you pull your data from, but around that 197.80, 90 area has been rather pivotal in the short term, certainly for much of the month of August, having failed initially when we broke to try and break back up above resistance here at the 237 area. One quick spike through, but back down. As we can see, we've got this area, 197.86 area, kind of holding well once before we bounced. Once on the way back down, then a very sharp break through the area on the low to on the way to a low around 170, 173.5, I suppose. And then even on the bounce back over the weekend, we touched the line and then backed off again. And then today we've had a sharp move back above. We had one very brief dip just below, but it was very, very brief and bounced back up. So, it's kind of acting as a bit of a pivot level, a bit of a swing level. however you like to term it. So definitely just worth keeping an eye on that as we progress from here, because crypto right now is kind of lacking any real catalyst to make it move one way or the other. It does seem to sort of be drifting around a little bit. So anything we can grab hold of on the technical side is worth having. And with that, I'll wrap things up for today. Hope you all had a successful start to the trading week, and look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. Cheers.